Okay, so back again. My name's Matt, and how we're gonna start today is how it all begun. So originally we moved into a new estate and we were building, and we moved into area there was no one, and as we got to know our immediate next door neighbours, we started to get a bad vibe from them. We felt that they were a bit nosy, and they were wanting to know everything about us, which is not a bad thing, but we were just a bit standoffish towards it. It was too overwhelming for us. Um, they found out where we had a spare business, a secondary business. They found out where we had a secondary business and were visiting us at our secondary business. This is all before the houses were built. They were sending us messages over Facebook, going through our site, going through our building when we weren't there. So going through our site and sending photos of our site, even though we were going every couple of days having a look. We lived locally, so all these bad signs that we're just getting bad vibes. Anyway, at this stage, we just kind of backtracked. We kind of took a back seat and just said, "Look, this is enough. Um, we really don't want to have much to do with you." When we were installing our fence, my contractor came over to me and said, "Oh, what's going on with your neighbours?" I said, "Oh, look, I really don't know him. What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, um, the female over there called your wife a effing bitch." I'm like, well, that surprised me, but okay, so be it. And the houses were finished. The houses were up and done. So they built all the way to boundary, and we had a double-story house. And their laundry door, which was built to boundary, was this glass door, which again was bizarre because it didn't look out to anything; it just looked out into our property. And the male would just stand there on his laptop all day doing something. So much so that it made my wife feel uncomfortable because he would just stand there looking over the fence and into our property. Um, uh, would have friends over and they're going, this really is uncomfortable. So I called the police and said, look, this is making my wife feel a bit uncomfortable. The police's response was, look, he's never done anything wrong. He's a person of good order. There's nothing we can do. Okay, no worries. So I go out and build a boundary fence. So I just put 3 slats of timber so he can't see over. I get a knock on the door from the council. Remove it. Remove these pieces of timber because they're a hazard. Yep, okay, no worries. I'll remove them. Give me a week. No, you've got 24 hours. Okay. So long story short, we actually got permission from the mayor to build a garden trellis. And the garden trellis could stand 5 meters, 3 meters tall and 5 meters long. So we built one of them and planted passion fruit at the base of it. You know, and it looked good. It was built correctly. It was built out of nice timber, and then a chin-up bar went up just down further, and they're built to boundary, mind you. So there's no way you can do a chin-up in that area. There's no room. And so again, watching them put up the chin-up bar, they're just standing on their ladders, looking over the fence, just having a good old gander, and just trying to work out who we are and what we do. And it's like, come on, guys, we're really not that interesting. So another garden trellis went up, and we put some really nice flowering plants, and it looked good. I don't know how it looked from their point of view, but you know, I know in the 3 years he lived there, he didn't do one chin up because there was wasp nests all over that place, mud wasps. So there was no reason. So we went through the right channels prior to this. We put a complaint to the council saying, look, we don't believe that there's enough room to do chin ups. Denied. He has a medical reason. He needs a chin up bar. It's got to be there. Can't be at the back of the house where there's plenty of room to do chin up bars. It has to be there. Right. So then we started notice, because we've got this massive wall of timber, that where there's not timber, he just starts standing and looking into our property. So at this time, I crack the shits and I make the whole length of our boundary fence a gun trellis. Yes, this is stirring the pot, but we're well within our legal right. And the police have said that there's nothing they can do because he's not doing anything. He doesn't have his hands down his pants. He's done nothing wrong. So we made sure that if he wants to stand and look in our house and look at my wife, that there's going to be a very, very difficult opportunity to do so. And it got out of hand from there. So they would wait till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night and smash bottles into their recycling bins. We did have a garden out the front. They would stamp on a garden, try to pull garden plants out. We contacted the police again. Police don't want to have anything to do with us. We then built a fence out the front that was clearly about half, I'd say probably 10 centimeters off the boundary, so it was on our property. There was graffiti on that property on their side. We didn't put any property on there, and they start fixing stuff to that property. I sent an SMS saying, "Look, that's not on your property. We don't know anything about the graffiti. Can you pull it off? It's obstructing my building. Pull it off, paint over it. I don't give a shit. Just don't attach shit to my fence." Ignores me, so I go and pull it off. And then because I pulled it off, I'm the worst person in the world. So everyone in the street thinks I'm a psychopath and I'm an instigator and I'm the devil. And mind you, I'm working full time in the army at this point in stage, so I don't have any time, let alone these microseconds of my day, to deal with his fucking bullshit. And I'm going to cut photos in to show you the extent we had to go to stop this guy looking in, and he made it his mission to look in. So once we denied him looking in, he would then walk past our house and take photos and take videos. He got the neighbours offside, and some of the neighbours would walk past and spit on our fence and call us all different types of names. Again, I can deal with that. Whatever you want to call me names, so call me names. But it made me living in my home, my first home, uncomfortable. So every time we did something in our house, be it we would build just a garden bed, would have a complaint put in against us, against the council from our next door neighbours. If we pretty much if we did anything that a complaint was put in, we lost count of how many complaints we put in. We built a front fence, a complaint was put in, and if they didn't win with the council, or we found a way to get around the council, they would go to the local estate and complain to the estate, and we would get phone calls from the estate explaining ourselves, trying to get them or get us to explain ourselves. So there was no freedom to live. It was just, we would do something and then it was just on top of it. We would have to, explain ourselves to the council, explain ourselves to the building estate. Even though it was in our legal rights to do what we were doing, it's just that these people had nothing better to do. They just complained, and it got to the point where it was overwhelming. And then they went down these avenues and they realised that they couldn't win by going through the council or through the estate. They started almost a negativity campaign around the people we lived. We were very private people. We didn't party. We didn't have barbecues. We weren't social. We lived to ourselves. We had our dogs. You can occasionally hear the bird. He carries on, but we kept to ourselves. We were quiet. and I think they used that to their advantage. That they got in everyone's ears and started to just spread, you know, I don't want to say lies, but spread ideas. Um, and that's why I was saying, when people we've never met would walk past our house and spit on our front fence and spit on my car, and this junkie would threaten to kill me. Again, I've never met him in my life. Just it was just really weird. We both lived, Wagga Wagga, Darwin, Sydney. There's probably a few other places I've forgotten, and never had an issue. Never had an issue. Um, and we felt like prisoners in our own home, we were, because we just lived in our own home. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to add further to that it was a lot worse than what it made out. Just them staring into our house wasn't all our doing. It was the constant complaints to council. It was the constant complaints to the building estate. It was the influencing of our neighbours, and our neighbours, um, you know, walking past, calling us fuckheads and spitting on my car that was parked out the front, and they were walking past at 1 o'clock in the morning with an air horning a house. Little examples like that. So, and again, I've never met these people, never shook their hand, never said hello. So, these people are getting ideas about us from someone, and the only people we knew were our next door neighbours, or we kind of knew our next door neighbours. So, this is the idea. This is where, um, we're getting an idea of how nasty these people were. So I just wanted to add that in, that it wasn't just looking over our fence. It wasn't just trying to gander. It wasn't just taking videotape of walking past our house. It wasn't just taking photos inside of our house. It ran a lot deeper than that, and it got bad. Yeah. What I was just talking about is how the neighbours got me offside with the rest of the street, and how I didn't feel safe in my own property. So we built this fence, and one Saturday afternoon, coming home from work, I noticed a big Nazi symbol spray painted on my front fence. Wasn't a little one, and I'll insert a clip, but it gives you an idea of what we were living in. We were just trying to keep to ourselves. Come home from wherever we were, and there's a massive Nazi symbol painted on our front fence. Pretty sure it was done over the night. But again, it gives you the idea of the neighbourhood we're in. So I'll insert that photo here. So I've got that far offside with the local neighbours, not just with our next door neighbours. That we had one of the neighbours threaten to kill me on Australia Day or New Year's Day. He was doing burnouts out of the front of his parents' house and stopped past me and threatened to kill me. And yeah, I took it seriously, but he's a junkie. So my wife said to me, look, we better call the police, because one, he knows where we live, and the threat was quite serious. So we called the police, and the police rocked up, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. Which was a bit of a letdown. You think that a crime's been committed, and you call the police, and the police go, well, did he have anything in his hands to carry out the crime? I'm like, well, I didn't see anything. They're like, okay. He does a big line locking up the street. What about impounding his car? Or if he impounds his car, He just goes to the magistrate, and the magistrate just gives him his car back. Okay, what about public nuisance? No, no, no. We can't compound stuff on this person. He doesn't know any better. You as an educated person, again, they're making assumptions. I didn't finish year 12. I didn't finish high school. Me as an educated person, if I did something like that, I'd be thrown over the coals. So, I wasn't happy, to say the least. This guy knows where I live. He's doing burnouts in my street. He's threatening to kill me. And it only takes, him to flip out and do something. So, one morning, about 7:30 in the morning, I'm going to work. Same thing. He's got the shits. He's up and doing burnouts out the front of his mum's house, actually on her front grass, and he's doing burnouts. And he comes past me and he threatens to kill me again, and threatens to rape my wife. And I'm not going to put this video up there because it shows who it is, and hopefully there will be legal proceedings towards this. And I've had enough. This is more than enough. He's done this to me twice now. He's now threatened to rape my wife. He knows where I live. He comes to my house all the time doing burnouts at the front of my house. He just doesn't care. So we go to the local police station on a Saturday morning. It's closed. Okay, no worries. So I go to work, do my work day, come back, go to Ipswich police station, and after half an hour conversation with the sergeant, he's like, "Oh, it's the Commonwealth. If we press charges on him, there's nothing we can do. He's just that type of person. He'll just say he was affected by drugs. He's a bad boy, and that will be it." And as you can kind of guess, I'm livid by now. I've dealt with this, and I've dealt with this, and I've dealt with this, and again, you're taught to use the justice system to protect you, and again, I felt let down. But what can you do? Yeah. So that's that bit of the story. So what we're going to move on to the next episode will be the search warrant. Will be the entrance to the search warrant, and how it's conducted, and how it goes from there. So again, if you feel like asking any questions, look, anything you need to ask, anything you want to ask, anything you're curious about, feel free to ask. Again, my name is Matt. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I've pretty much gone off what's on the top of my head, or how I remember events. So my wife has actually sent me something that she wrote down years ago, and she just wanted me to say it verbatim. So I'll try to read it as best I can. I am an ex-military living with severe service-related mental health issues, and I'm constantly being triggered by my neighbours, my street, my estate, my local council and police. I own my own home and decided to settle down after years of posting all around Australia. Before my home was built, my new neighbours were prying into our lives, and being military, we have been very private people, and being closed off from these new neighbours upon moving in. They would be at our doorstep before we could open the car door upon coming home. Since then, they have now become our bullies, and not only turned our whole street against us, they have turned the whole neighbourhood, including the developers, against us. We constantly receive complaints from our local council from these people. We constantly have the police at our house. We've been threatened to be raped, killed, and had our property damaged, spat on, property stolen, called all names under the sun, which has been caught on camera and full audio shown to the police, who turned it all back on me and told me I was the crazy one, and all I needed was to go to the psychiatric ward, as I was hysterically upset and triggered by my military experiences. No matter what I do, I am constantly harassed and bullied to the point where I severely hurt myself to escape. We have built fences to put up signs to leave us alone. We keep to ourselves, and all I need to get better is a safe zone, which I don't have and I haven't had it for 3 years of living here. I am trapped and have no way out. I'm constantly living in fear and reliving the trauma I endured with my military career. I don't know what else to do. We can't afford to sell or rent. Please help me. So that's what Danielle wrote, I think 2018. So that gives you an idea of exactly what she was going through, not just what I was going through.